Walking in Rome, it taught me to dwell in sorrow. My life, surrounded by the fundamentalism of Catholicism, became darker and more dreadful because I was not a theological man. I was a dreamer. I was someone who loved fantasy. These men in Rome studying to be priests, they weren't interested in fantasy. They were interested only in ensuring that their truth, Catholic as it were, would be the only truth in their mission as men of God, as they would become in persona Christi themselves. Well, it was to rid the rest of the world of any other belief, to convert, and if not able to convert, at least to mock and to ridicule. My sorrow rose from that nagging doubt of college, and I wasn't able to laugh in Rome or love. Not really. And when I walked into the giant cathedrals of Rome, in fact all of Europe, I remembered all of the lonely men and women that I had encountered thus far in my life. That boy who had died of AIDS, the old man dead in his bed alone for weeks, the very poor, the sick, the elderly. And looking at these huge ancient temples of worship in Rome, I realized that this faith lacked the authenticity of its own creed. Monks and priests wrapped in silk and wool, finest leather on their feet, they didn't represent their own Christ. These monks and priests, were supposed to be in persona Christi, yet looking at them, I realized they were nothing like the Christ I had sang songs of praise about in college. They were nothing like the naked, sacrificed man on the cross. My sorrow deepened. And I wondered if maybe the spell that would make me in persona Christi might in fact too be a myth, a legend. Would I stand again on the mountain in Colorado, calling upon the power of the sky and the stones, hoping to turn into a raven so as to fly away, to swim in my dreams, and there in that hope discover magic isn't real? Would the anointing with oil, laying on of hands, the stole and the chasuble all result with me one more time climbing down the mountain on my hands and knees over stone and dirt, shaking my head, wishing that the dream were a reality? The tainted laughter I had left at college tasted like sorrow. Rome taught me that dreams are not real. You know, in Rome I had the chance to travel to Europe outside of Rome and into Africa. I discovered there a love of catacombs, of the ancient city that was below, her old dead dusting beneath her. I found my heart in Florence, a city so filled with creativity and art that every turn I was inspired to create art myself. I went into the valleys of the Swiss Alps, and there, seeing a wonderful hamlet where I got drunk with the locals. The only language we had in common at that time was laughter. I walked through the dusty streets of Tunis, surprised at how many citizens in the USA were disliked, but inspired by how warm and welcoming the Tunisians were to the guest. There I met Muslims who were gregarious and kind. They welcomed us into their homes with tea and honey. In Rome, I had my first sexual experience with a boy named Ricky. It was very awkward. It was difficult, and it filled me with shame. In Rome, I looked from the top of a building and found myself glad for once that I didn't have wings, as I thought about throwing myself down upon the cobbled streets below. My anguish, my conflict in being faithless and dreaming of sleeping with boys pushed me to the edge. I wanted so much to be the man that I had already been for years of dreaming. I knew that I could not remain in the heart of the Catholic Church, for my love affair with the trappings and the rituals of this place had already faded, and I begged my bishop to bring me home, that I would continue my studies in the USA. There, at least I thought I would be closer to the men and friends I had from college. There I could find my community. There I could run away from my love affair. There I could hide my doubts in moving from place to place. The bishop agreed, still finding in me hope that I would become a great man of God. And for a time at least, this became very true.